All right, family, we black again. Black power is the truth hour with General Sarah Soon said he kick back. Get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. Family, I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to the Sarah Soon Seti YouTube page, a dynamic page. Y'all know what it is. Black power, black frequency. You feeling that energy and frequency, you should most definitely join. Even if you don't, I appreciate you present here at the Sarah Soon Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace of official General Sarah Seti DVD lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessories for every room in the house. We talking about kingseti.com, family. Save and shop and save. That's right, family. Pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, SETI University, over 1,200 videos of pure heat is over that. Of pure heat and fire is presented by General Sarah Soon SETI, including the supplemental, monumental, and instrumental research material of the Grand Masters. We need that, classic information, and I'll give an overview on that, opening up, and making it more visual for you, and to take it that much further. So you got the general, you got the master teachers, and then you got the general teaching on the master teachers. God damn it. So, that's 360 degrees of pure, supreme African academics that cannot be compared to by no other website, nowhere on the planet, guaranteed. Check it out, family. It's nothing but fire. And everybody knows SETI popping on Patreon, BPC making noise, never calm, never calm. We always come with that rebel, that rebel frequency. You feel what I'm saying? And so I got a lot of exclusive live streams only to be seen on Patreon, and then you get an opportunity to see the general live, and so I most definitely, turn up a notch for the family. So make sure you get on over there and become a patron today. Don't you wait. It's something for everybody. All the family that donated, I appreciate you. Thank you for your donations. And any of the family out there want to support the general, keep the general on the battlefield, and want to donate, I thank you ahead of time. And the links is in the video description, in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King Seti, General Seti, Sarah Soon Seti. Rock the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it, share it with your family and friends, and comment, comment, comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Now, the question is Christmas the modern Saturnalia? We're gonna continue on this. We in the season, to be stupid. They say jolly, but this is the season for motherfuckers to be stupid. Okay, to think that what they telling you is not of merit. This is a goddamn winter holiday, and ain't nothing the nigga got to do with no damn snow. Okay, that ain't got nothing to do with our legacy at all. So we know that it's completely theirs, and we should accept that. And though we fooled ourselves into believing this when Jesus was born. You understand what I'm saying? You niggas caught up into that. You cannot believe that, and they say, well, the Catholic did it. Yeah, yeah, and he did do it, but he had his hand on everything else too. You know what I'm saying? They took from a lot from the Catholics. They know that, and I'm not saying it, but don't act like you something different than what they is, and you didn't cut off of they chunk. You know what I'm saying? What you wanted and left what you did not want, but there's a lot of basis there that's from from the Catholic. Just the term Christ Mass shows that it come from the Roman, the Byzantine, which is which is the eastern branch of the Roman Empire. And then you have Rome, which was ruled, the Byzantine was ruled at Constantinople, while the western branch of the Roman Empire was ruled at Rome. And then eventually Rome would fall, but Constantinople had become the capital anyway of the Roman Empire. You see, and so through the Byzantine, the Roman Empire continued on. It did not fall. it went into the Byzantine expression of, the Roman Empire. And they continued to mold the Serapis shit. When you start talking about when you start talking about Christianity and what it became, and they talk about all the damn the ecumenical councils and conferences that they had to debate over, all the arguments within the Serapis worship, all those cities that they call Chalcedon and Nicaea and Ephesus and all that. Those are over there in Turkey. They ain't in Rome. All them conferences that's when Constantinople was the capital of the Christian world. And that's where it developed at. It didn't develop in Rome. What you see, the Basilica of Peter's Basilica, that is after the Hagia Sophia. That, the Hagia Sophia was the first great church of the Christian world. It was in Byzantine. It wasn't in Rome. And so, they try to create them popes and shit. I got a book where they got all the popes in it. And when you go to you start looking at them earlier popes, they they document their names and shit. And then they tell you we don't have much literature on them. We don't have none. So really what you got to take them on, you got to take what they teaching you, on merit, that what they telling you is the truth, but they don't have nothing, no popes was in no damn Rome, at the 0 AD or around it. There wasn't no popes. They was being crucified. Wasn't no goddamn popes. They couldn't establish no institution over there. They was sending their ass to the Colosseum to be eaten by the damn lions. How in the fuck you got an institution of a pope and all of that over there? And they goddamn, outlawed the Christians and shit in Rome. They outlawed their ass. So, that belief that Christianity started in Jesus 33, and right after that, it was some Christian. You want no goddamn, that's Serapis worship. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no Jesus in that manner. It was Serapis, and then as it evolved and evolved, and even in that, Jesus, and we keep telling, and how is it that we're gonna accept the fact that two main deities got the same expression? Even though it's etymologically spelled, not that much different, but it's pronounced in the Spanish and I don't know in the Portuguese, Jesus. You see, yeah, 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 and so that's most definitely you have to not just go on what they teach you for history and shit, because these motherfuckers is lying about a lot of that shit. They lying, but the Saturnalia was even practiced in Byzantium. Okay, they continue that on, even up into the 1400s. They would still had them expressions. They would still celebrate until, they got to the, where they made, this Serapis worship, uh, the, uh, the new religion. And I believe it was under Theodosius that he started closing down a lot of that shit. But that was during the time of Theodosius. And many times right after one of them motherfuckers who would shut it down, here come another motherfucker who was okay with it, and they'll open it right back up again. Just like they try to ban Christmas, and then it wasn't but for a minute, and then they opened it right back up again. You see, and so it has always been with them. And so you see the Saturnalia again was an attempt to get back to the golden age. You know what I'm saying? Of the Romans. They looked at, when Saturn ruled, that was the golden age. And so the expression and celebration of Saturnalia was in the people's, they mind that this was, a celebration of that time and looking forward that, it could, revisit them, again, and that celebration was a ceremony to try to, bring that, the people into the new year in a festive and a energetic like we do even today. We get around that new year, we get to making all type of, lot, we make promises and shit, resolutions and shit. Motherfuckers start off good first 2 3 weeks, and then motherfuckers start fizzling out, but that's what we do. And so even when you look at the hood, the hood is symbolic of, cloak and shroud and veil, and so when you look here and you see this, you see an emptiness. That's what really you seeing here. They dressed him up and put a face on it, but really, it's something deeper than that. It's not, the face is only anthropomorphic clothing that they put on the concept. It's the concept. The face and shit ain't real. You see, that's not real. That's just an expression, that they put on there. And so they had you worshiping them. But it's a deeper concept up under that they shrouding and that they hiding, that you are the primordial, you automatically connected to that energy. It's a cosmic energy, but they hide it through the veneration of these images that look like them. So you end up worshiping them. If you on the mundane level, you end up worshiping the image, but you never really truly understand the energy and the frequency that they shrouding. You never understand that aspect of it. They hide that from you. You got to be initiated to get into that, and so, and it's not ironic that, they say and I've heard that it was the Byzantines that, that really started that Christmas shit, the celebration of the birth. They didn't even celebrate the birth of Jesus. The main thing was his resurrection. That's what they celebrated. The Christmas shit came long after that. And so, they knew that Saturnalia was that holiday, and they had to find a way to co-opt it. And so that's when they created what you call Christ Mass to code, and you can see it with all that. Even Halloween, they moved All Saints Day over to November. You know what I'm saying? So they could usurp Samhain, what they call Samhain, which is that Celtic end of the summer harvest festival. That was they beginning of the new year, which was in November. That was their new year. Okay. And so even in that November is celebrating the Celtic as the new year. And that's again harvest, giving praise to their deity. They would harvest animals and shit. That is a blood month. And so even when we talk about Saturnalia, you talk about Saturn, but you also talk about Pan, which is his alter ego. Two deities in this, same house, two deities, one anthropomorphic, one is zoomorphic, which is, and he is zoomorphic, even though he got the body, supposedly, because he got horns. So the motherfucker all goat to me. I don't try to, but they say half of him is man, half of him is goat. You see, but he is the other primary deity at the top. When you start talking about them guys at the top, you saying Saturn, Pan, then you got Zeus, Jupiter, and Zeus is more popular than Jupiter. Jupiter was the Roman D, but Zeus still the more popular of the two. As far as people, they call Zeus. They don't you don't hear Jupiter as much. Only in the planetary, but as a deity, he didn't catch on like that. And so, out of all the gods that they changed in the week, from the Roman deities. They changed them to Nordic gods. So Tuesday was actually the day of Mars, if I'm not, that was, I believe, but it became the day of Tiwaz or Tyr. And even in that, when you see Tyr, Tyr, you see Satyr is inside of that. You know what I'm saying? When you look in the etymology, they spell his name Tyr, Tyr, but if you spell it Satyr, that's the Satyr. You see, and so even when you look at Sat and you look at Satyr, Sat, it show you that the goat is also in Saturn, and Saturn is in the goat. You know what I'm saying? So those two primary, so Pan is always celebrated in the carnival because he bring that old perverted shit that he's the god of all their perversions and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then also in the Saturnalia, you got Dionysus or Bacchus, was the god of wine. And of course, they're gonna want to get drunk and shit. So they're gonna have Bacchus, they're gonna have Pan. Them two, that's gonna get their party started. You know what I'm saying? And even in the mythologies, Pan and Dionysus they became tight. You know what I'm saying? So there's an element between, because them the two to get the party started. So a lot of times you would see Pan and a Bacchus, he would be a composite. He would look like a satyr, but he would have grapes in his hair and shit to symbolize that he was also, Bacchus too. So you got them deities, primarily Bacchus, Dionysus, Pan, and Saturn. Of course, that's his jump off. And so those three deities, they gonna be highly venerated, damn near in every one of them festivities that you know they practice and they celebrate. They gonna have even though the festival may not be about them per se, but they gonna be there in a grand way to make sure that this shit, and Janice too, but Janice gonna get his a little further up. You know what I'm saying? In January, and even then, and him and Saturn became, they like two very close deities, because when they say Saturn came from Greece as Kronos, but when he came to Rome, he became Saturn. And when he was dethroned by Zeus, that's when they call the clash of the Titans, and Zeus overthrew Kronos. But some stories say they chained him in hell, in Hades. But there's other stories where the Romans explain how he escaped and he came to Italy, and it wasn't even no Rome yet. You know what I'm saying? And when he got there, they was in a state of barbarity. And so Saturn brought civilization, he brought agriculture, he brought all that to the Romans. And so they look at him as the founding deity. Okay. Now, he even, from my understanding, he even gave Janus his powers. Many stories say that he bestowed upon Janus his powers that he have. And so they are very closely connected. And that's why, in January, you see all three of them, they come together, because, they try to say that part of the month, well, it's both Saturn and Uranus. But Uranus ain't really in the story like that. He was mutilated. He was castrated. You know what I'm saying? So, but Saturn goes into a part of January too. So wherever and also Capricorn goes into January. So you see Janus, you see Pan, and you see Saturn as a trinity there. You see them, you see them as a trinity there. Okay. And even that Janus daughter and Saturn's son had children. So they had merged, and it was Phaneus. And so You see there again, the goat become the profound zoo type, a veneration. So you got the goat worship there. You're gonna have goat sacrifice. You're gonna have that. You're gonna have your blood rights. That's what they got into. And so when we talk about Saturn, you talk about uh Santa. It's an anagram for Saturn. When you talk about Satan, it's an anagram for Saturn. And so when you look at now, they didn't, when you think that it's not there, it's there because what they doing, they moving these holidays around. You know what I'm saying? The Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, which is in veneration of Thor. They got to give Thor his. You see, they got to give Thor his, and so that leads into Saturnalia. So they the goat is in all of that. You see, the goat is in there with Thor. So he's even in November too. He's even in November too. So you see a lot of these guys become trinities. They become trinities and composite deities. But that's in the anagram that you see that they changed the name around a little bit, but this is what it is. And so this is the expression we're gonna put on it today. Same energy, same time, but just a newer package. In a newer age, you have to update the package so that it worked for the day. Now you got Santa Claus and shit. He lifting weights and shit. This motherfucker, they be bringing all kind of Santa Clauses out there now. They had to hype him up. You know what I'm saying? Shit, Santa Claus on the goddamn iPhone and shit. And this, that, yeah, he dialing this shit in now. So this ain't the old Santa just, no, this motherfucker got technology and shit. This motherfucker, they don't need the deer now. This motherfucker got a spaceship, goddamn sled. Flying, motherfucking light speed, just flying, zooming all through the sky. So they keep updating it. But the root of it is Saturnalia, the veneration of Saturn. And that's why on Saturday, out of all the gods, they did not change Saturn. They changed Jupiter. They changed, and Jupiter is Thor. He's the god of lightning, and storms. And Odin, that's why you would think, Odin was matched to Mercury, Hermes, because of the occult magic. He was looked at more like a sorcerer than a god. Like if you just say it and it is. He would use the rune stones like a magician and shit to bring a lot of his, his strength and his powers and the display of his energy was done through throwing the runes and shit. These little stones with their symbols on it. And however the stones fall, and we got that. However the stones fall, he knew how to read it. And he knew the mysteries of the runes and the powers of them. And then he uses that, to express his will. But he's not a god like that. He's a sorcerer type of god. Gandalf, Merlin. No, these is all expressions of Odin. So he was Mercury, Hermes. And then you got Frigga, which his wife was uh Venus, which was Friday. And so they removed all of them and they replaced them with the Nordic gods in, I believe, that Anglo-Saxon areas, Viking areas. You talking about France, you talking about Britain, what they call pan-Germanic areas, and that they consider to be German, and so in those areas they changed the days of the week to the Wednesday and Thursday, and that's when. But Saturday they did not change, and that right there show you that even they had high respect even amongst the Nordics not to change that one. You know what I'm saying? All the other ones was they was replaceable. You see, They was replaceable. But Saturn, they didn't even have an equivalent. They didn't have no equivalent for no God like him. You see? And so we continue to express that to see what it is we are practicing. You know, you want to know, that's what you practice. And you go down there to the damn Capitol buildings, that's what they practicing. They made sure that you understand that this is an expression of wrong. And they got the celebration. In this area, you can still go party and do all of that. You can still do all of that. That what they was doing in the Saturnalia right now today. And every one of these holidays, like you see, like Mardi Gras, most so Mardi Gras, most so Mama's Day, those motherfuckers is Saturnalia. They bring out all that other side shit and they prance that shit all, and they put them masks on. That's masquerade so they can hide their sicknesses and shit and think that ain't nobody gonna see their ass. And then they also wear the mask because they believe that, during these festivals that demons and shit is come up, to, haunt people. And so they put on masks so that the demons don't recognize, because their own ancestors didn't want, didn't even like their ass. And so, on Lumeria, they was putting masks on so that their own ancestors, primarily ancestors that died that hadn't been treated right. You know what I'm saying? One way or another. And so if you didn't treat the ancestor right and they died, they come back to get your ass. Yeah, Mama's Day there. That shit crazy. That's Saturnalia. You know what I'm saying? That's Saturnalia 100. Mardi Gras, another one. That's Saturnalia. You know what I'm saying? That's the format. And those particular ones they go all out in that shit. You know what I'm saying? They go all out in that shit. All that spring break. Uh, that's Saturnalia. That's what it is. And so, again, we proven beyond any reason of doubt that they still venerate the Roman culture here. And as we move into this, I want to make sure that I'm clear. By the time we get up out of this, I would have shown you all these symbols and that breaking the spell that you can have control over all of that shit. You can deny it entrance into your home, into your life. And if you, like I say, if people want to find other ways to engage, but it must be uplifting. I don't, I know it's hard for people to come out of shit like that, but it must be uplifting for our people. We can't be going out here buying and spending and giving all our money away to these motherfuckers. And we up here asking for reparations. And here it is, motherfuckers is spending damn near hundreds of millions of dollars on all of the holidays combined. What kind of shit is that? If you want reparations, some of it you're gonna have to repair yourself. And I know if motherfuckers, can get away from these holidays, that's major. That's like number one for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what a motherfucker talking about at all. I don't give a fuck if they talking Christian, Muslim. They can be talking any ideology. All I want to know, I know the package of this Christmas shit. I know all the deities and all that shit. And once I understand that, I'm not going to engage in it like that. If I do, it's going to be something that my family can benefit from. And that's all right. They deserve, our families deserve things. And so we want to get them something, that's all right. But we going to express our own culture when we do that. We're not going to put the energy because we can't just say it don't matter, because anything you do is a frequency to it. And a lot of these frequencies is silent killers. Like your 5G, you might not even see. You ain't going to see it. Yeah. Yeah, you ain't gonna see it, but it's gonna be killing your ass. All they got they got biological weapons and shit that you breathing that shit. You don't even know you breathing it. It's silent. And so you practice these symbolisms, these rituals, and these ceremonies, and you think that it's not doing anything to you. And the reality is that's just not true. That's what you done told yourself. You understand what I'm saying? To fool yourself and to continue and to be a slave for in these people's system. And like I say, at the end of the day, all I have to do is see how much money they made. And when I see, because it's the some of these niggas, they don't, they still, yes they do. They pack all them same symbols in their house, the trees, the motherfucking the fucking what they call them with the they hang the little socks on the damn wall and shit, Santa boots and shit, and all that shit, Reeves on their door and all that shit. Same thing. Don't got no idea what it is. Think only on the mundane level. And they done brought all type of symbols of all type of deities and demons into their house. And they don't even realize. We got to wake up. Okay. And so again, on the end of this, just to show you this, at the end of the day, I'm gonna see how much money they spend for Thanksgiving, how much money they spend for Christmas, how much money they spend for Thanksgiving, and all the rest of them. And you add that shit up, just black people alone. You add that shit up, and you add them all up, you're gonna go into the hundreds of millions of dollars, quite possibly billion, when you add them all up. You add all the major ones up: Christmas, uh, uh, Mother's Day, even Halloween is at the top of the list. They spending hundreds of millions on that one holiday. And so, and when you think about it, some of the holidays are national holidays, but then when you come to that Saturnalia, when you come to that Christmas, it's global. So that shit all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And that was their way of tricking the world to continue to celebrate Saturnalia by calling it something else, just a glaze of Christianity, and damn near 90% of the signs and symbols up under it is some goddamn pagan shit that they say is pagan, but yet it's still God gave them the book. He gave you all this pagan shit too. He gave you all this pagan shit too. He gave you that too, huh? Okay. Make that shit make sense. All right, family. I want to thank y'all for being in here tonight. I want to thank y'all for being in here tonight. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We just wanted to touch the mind, with some science. Don't No matter what time it is, it's always a good time to wake motherfuckers up. This is General Cyrus Hunsetti saying, hey, arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.